Life coach Edna Castillo will guide participants through spiritual healing and mindset practices.
Would you like to learn more about Unity's beliefs, principles, and history? Join Reverend Kristin for the Unity Basics class that starts on Thursday, June the 8th at 7 o'clock right here. The class will be held in the sanctuary and is open to everyone. And I'd emphasize that we have it as a requirement to become a member of the church if you aren't already a member. But if you've been around for a while, it's a great class to drop in on, if not all the 3 nights, then some of the nights. And you learn new stuff all the time, right, Richard? Richard and I learn new stuff all the time.
And you also,
or we forget what we learned and we have to relearn again.
And you also get to meet new people.
Yeah, that's right.
Welcome them.
So all 3 sessions are required to become a member, and please sign up on the patio or go on the email at office@unityofwalnutcreek.org. And so for more information on these events, you may pick up flyers back there in the back end of the patio, or see our website for a full listing, registration, and information for all of our events. You may also register for events in our bookstore and visit our welcome table for the flyers.
So as we prepare for our time of meditation, please join me in taking a conscious breath and affirming our statement of faith together. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, the all-loving goodness of God. We begin with music, followed by guided meditation and silence.
Here I am, a vessel to be used. Whatever Spirit needs of me, I will be, I will be, I will be. Here I stand. My heart is here to serve. Wherever love is leading me, I will go, I will go, I will go. Here I am, a vessel to be used. Whatever Spirit needs of me, I will be, I will be, I will be. Whatever Spirit needs of me, I will be, I will be, I will be.
So opening our hearts, we receive the guidance to be and to do whatever Spirit needs. And let the love and the light flood your being as you open further with every breath. Every breath in is a receiving of the love and encouragement and inspiration of God. And every breath out, a release and an opening and a willingness to be directed, to be shown the way. The open hands on your lap are willing hands and receiving hands. I am willing to be guided. I am willing to serve. I am willing to share my gifts. I am willing. If that feels true for you, I invite you to take that simple affirmation. Let it take root in your heart and your body. I am willing. I'm willing to serve. I'm willing to be guided. I am willing in the silence. Wherever I am led, whatever you will have me do, I bring my gifts, my heart, my willing spirit, and so it is.
Here I am, a vessel to be used. Whatever spirit needs of me, I will be, I will be, I will be. Whatever spirit needs of me, I will be, I will be, I will be. Shine the light into the world. Shine the light into the world. Shine the light into the world. Let it shine. It is the time for one and all to live the dream, answer the call. There is enough love in your heart to change the world, change the world. So shine the light into the world. Oh, shine the light into the world. Come on, sing it with me now. Shine the light into the world. Let it shine. One by one we'll plant the seed. Wherever there's a need, we are the very hands of love, reaching out into the world. So shine the light into the world. Come on, sing it now. Let's shine the light into the world. Everybody, oh, shine the light into the world. Shining from your heart, let it shine. Place in our human evolution. People get ready for the love revolution. For every problem there is a solution. Now is the time to put on your shine. Where is God in the midst of tragedy? By living in the hands and heart of humanity. Answer the call, love will set you free. Now is the time. So shine the light into the world. Everybody shine it. Shine the light into the world. For our siblings, shine the light into the world. For all of our family, now shine the light into the world. Oh, oh, oh. Shine the light into the world. Look
All right, a little reggae for us. Good morning. How are you all with your bright, shiny faces? It is great to be here, isn't it, Irene? It's great to be here. So there's an old Hebrew story about a man named Reb Nachum. And Reb was not a very nice guy. He was a very selfish businessman. He pretty much all he cared about was making money, and he would swindle people every chance he got just so he could make a little more money. And one day he was in his carriage riding down the road. It was Sabbath, and there was a farmer who was stuck. His cart was stuck in the mud on the side of the road. And for whatever reasons on that day, Reb decided to do something kind. And he got out of his carriage and he helped the farmer push the cart back onto the road. Of course, the job was easy with two people. And the farmer was in his best clothes, and he obviously was exacerbated. What is that? Exhausted in that, yeah. And so they were just saying goodbye to each other once the cart got back on the road, and Reb just wasn't even thinking, and he just kind of flicked this little piece of mud off the shoulder of the farmer. He said, "Now you are ready for the Sabbath feast." So many years later, Reb makes his transition, and he's come to that place of life review. And it turns out that he's meeting with two different angels. One is the accusatory angel. I didn't know there was an accusatory angel, but apparently there is. The prosecuting attorney, that's basically how this plays out. Yeah. And the defending angel or defending attorney. And so the prosecutorial angel, the accusing angel, has so much as he's reviewing Reb's life, like his abuses of power, his, not being kind to his wife or his children, engaging in the community in no way that was a positive contribution, having no friends. And so he's, just adding all this stuff to the scale, and it just like, boom, hits the side of the floor. And so the angel of mercy is like, wow, what am I going to do here? So he starts reviewing Reb's life from the very beginning moment until the end, and kind of going back and forth and scanning for something I must be able to put on this side of the scale. And that time when Reb got out of the carriage and helped the farmer comes up. And out of desperation, this angel of mercy throws the entire cart on the other side of the scale. And so things start to, teeter and level, and then it still moves toward the accusing angel's side. And so the angel of mercy says, there must be something else. Scan. And the little flick of mud takes that flick of mud, throws it on the scale. Things balance. Oh! And it tips in his favor, and Reb enters paradise. And of course, the point of that story is even a very small kindness can have an enormous impact for ourselves and for the people that we serve. So hopefully you don't find yourself much like Reb in how you show up in the world. Of course, we all have our days and our moments, right? And if you do find you're leaning that direction, hopefully today's message will help you, inspire you to find more kindness and give more of all that you have to give in the world. And of course, if you're already, most of you in this room, regularly serving and giving in the world and showing up in those ways, then I hope today you'll just be affirmed in the fact that you are on the right track for your spiritual journey. Service is an antidote. It's an antidote to depression. It's an antidote to isolation. It's an antidote for low self-esteem. It lifts us up naturally when we give to others. Service connects us with life and with each other. It fulfills our sense of belonging. It fulfills our sense of purpose. It gives us a sense that we matter, that we make a positive impact, that the things that we do and the things that we say make a difference in life in general, in the general sense and feeling and energy of the universe, and also for that individual perhaps that we are giving to, or that community that we are contributing to. It also has that sense of aligning us with Spirit, because we are aligned with our values when we give to the places and the causes and the things that we care about, right? That we want to see more of in the world, that we like the work they do, or because we give to somebody because we love that person, or we think that person maybe could just use a leg up today in whatever ways that we might be able to help. And so, in general, service makes us feel good, right? It makes us feel, uplifted and full of love and all of those things I just mentioned, that sense of contribution that we give. Erskine Mason said this: God has so constituted our nature that we cannot be happy unless we are, or at least think we are, the means of good to others. We just come in that way. And service gives us the opportunity to be the divine embodied. It gives us the opportunity to be those hands and feet of God, essentially, to be that which Spirit cannot be in the world, because only we have that gift of physicality and spirituality, and to be able to direct Spirit through us, through this vehicle that we have, is a really special opportunity, right? When we serve others, we are serving God. In Matthew, Jesus is speaking as the Christ when he says, "Come, you who are blessed, and take your inheritance. For I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I had no clothes, and you brought me clothes. I was a stranger, and you invited me in. I was in prison, and you came and visited me." And we all say, "Christ, when did I do these things? When were you hungry? When did I see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you drink, or without clothes and give you clothing? When did I visit you or care for you when you were sick? I never saw you in prison." And Jesus, as that Spirit of the Christ, says, "Truly I tell you, whenever you did for one of these, my brothers and sisters, you did for me." Every time we do a kindness, we are serving the divine. We are serving the allness of God. We are serving the eachness of God. We are serving the divine masters and those who have come before us, those that we most resonate with. All of that is in service to something greater. So, can you think of something that you have done recently to contribute in a positive way to somebody's life? Any little thing you might have done, or big thing. Maybe close your eyes for a minute and just recall something. Let something come up in your heart, some way in which you have given to another. And as you recall that, and maybe allow yourself to relive it for a moment here, notice how it feels as you give in this way. Do you have a sense of the positive impact that your contribution makes? How it makes a difference for that being or that individual or that community that receives your gift. The truth is that while we're having fun doing whatever we're doing, as it brings us joy, it spreads joy. And so that's why we end every service by saying, have fun and spread joy. Because as we go out in the world, and it's natural, right? As we are having fun, we are spreading joy. And as we are doing something meaningful, we are having fun and also spreading joy. So even if you don't want to be a spreader of joy, you can't help yourself. Mahatma Gandhi said, "All other pleasures and possessions pale into nothingness before service, which is rendered in spirit of joy. All other pleasures and possessions pale in comparison. That spirit of joy that is in the giving. Simply witnessing acts of generosity and kindness, it bolsters our faith in humanity, doesn't it? You ever notice that? Like when you see somebody do good, it's like, oh, yeah, that's right. Humanity is good. There is that sense of goodness, and I have faith. I have greater faith in humanity. It's like last week when I was speaking of Gen Z and how their kind of tag word and value is wholesome. And I'm not sure if I told this service, but their favorite videos to watch online are things like sweet little kitty videos, or videos of like somebody doing something kind, like being kind to somebody without shelter, or giving them something to eat or to drink, or providing them shelter. And it's those videos that that generation, 11 to 26-year-olds, enjoy more than the generation before them that enjoys more satirical and dark humor kinds of videos. But it's natural, I think, for all of us to enjoy that, to enjoy witnessing acts that allow us to feel a greater sense of faith in each other. So later today, we'll be celebrating the angels among us, as you heard, in our annual volunteer appreciation. And I always heard when you have a tickle in your throat, some truth wants to come out. We'll see what Spirit has in store for us here. That's right. So later we'll be celebrating the angels among us, and in that genre, I looked to angel.com and found some really inspiring stories of service. And one of them is this man who was telling a story about his family a few years back, and how his wife had been diagnosed with breast cancer, and his 14-year-old son wanted to do something to contribute to her medical bills. He said, we're a lower middle class family living in a lower middle class neighborhood, and so the medical bills are a big deal to us, and asking our neighbors to contribute is a huge ask. But my son had this idea. He said, he's 14 years old, I wanted to support him. And his idea was that he was going to go door to door with a pair of hair clippers and have the person shave a part of his head for a donation of their choosing. And so he says, Dad, what do you think? Is a $100 goal too much? And the dad says, well, son, don't get your hopes up. So the boy goes out with the clippers, and he comes back, in not a very long time, with a bald head and $1,225. He even got a few $100 bills. So people are good and generous, Sometimes much more so than we give credit for. I know a lot of times when we're looking out in the world and we're seeing things happening, we begin to lose our faith in each other and in the human family and think, what's happening here, Everything's going to hell in a handbasket. Remember that old term? But, it's those moments that we might go to those places in our minds or our hearts that we can use affirmative prayer to turn things around and speak the truth, that people are good and generous. Because that's the essence of who we are, right? I am divine. That's the essence of who we all are. Hurting people hurt. That's all. Hurting people hurt. We get off track. All of us get off track sometimes. All of us step out of divine alignment. We can't step out of divine connection. That's impossible. But we get misaligned a little bit sometimes with things we say and the things we do that we don't really mean. And so it allows us then to come back to that truth, to speak some truth like this. People are good and generous. I am good and generous. Do you know that? You are good and generous. Look in the mirror sometime and say, I'm good. I am good and generous. I am kind. I give of myself freely. And beyond expectations, we allow ourselves then to move into the truth of who we are as divine beings, as spiritual beings having this human experience. Service can foster awe, when we behold how it works. And sometimes Spirit lets us know how it all comes together. In a beautiful, divinely ordered circle, sometimes things come back to us. Another anonymous storyteller tells about a time when he was driving down the road and he sees this elderly man changing his tire. And so he pulls over to help him. And he said, within 30 seconds, I realized I know this guy. He said, this was the firefighter who pulled my family and me out of a 4-story apartment building when I was a child. And so he changes the man's tire. And then he said, we just stood there, shaking hands, looking to each other's eyes. And at the same time, we said, thank you. Those kinds of things, happen, I think, so that we can be reminded of the Spirit that is in everything. That God is in the details and is in everything, and it comes back around. As we give, we receive. As we receive, we give. It's all part of this beautiful circle of life. Service is free. That's another one of the beautiful things. And, so much of spirituality is free, right? Spiritual qualities are free. Spiritual experiences are free. Giving of ourselves, it's free. It's freely given. It has no financial cost to it. Now, in truth, volunteers, they say, the statistics say, are 67% more likely to also be people who donate to things they care about, to places they care about. And so there is that tends to go together, but service in and of itself is free. There is no financial cost to it. It's also free in the sense that you don't have to have a certain education or particular skills or professional background to just give. To give in whatever ways you feel moved and motivated in the moment. It can be as simple as a smile or a hug or holding the door for somebody. It can be as simple as planting a seed or pulling a weed. It doesn't have to necessarily be an earth-shattering, life-changing moment, although you probably in your lifetime will be involved in that kind of service as well. And so it's all of this, isn't it? Recognizing all of this. Another anonymous angel shares that he was working in his local convenience store, and in comes a man with a guide dog and a cane and heads over to the greeting card section. And he takes out a greeting card and he puts it about this close to his face, trying to figure out what the message says. And the man working behind the cash register is wanting to get over to help him, but he's got a long line of folks. He said, just when I see this big burly truck driver comes over to the man and says, can I read one of those cards for you? And the man says, sure. And he said, they continued where the man read every single card on the rack out loud until he got to the last one. And the guy says, oh, my wife is going to love that one. It doesn't really matter where, we have these ideas sometimes of people when we see them and expectations of who they are and judgments about who they are. And let yourself be surprised. Let yourself be awed. Let yourself be reminded people are good and generous and kind. Let that be our mantra. Because you know what? When it becomes the thing we speak and know in our hearts, it's what happens. It's a way that we transform the world, is by just speaking that to ourselves and within ourselves and blessing others quietly with that. We bring forth the truth, the goodness. When we see something otherwise, it's just kind of a mirage, really. Charles Fillmore, our co-founder, said, evil is a parasite. It only lives as long as the parent will host it and feed it. As soon as it is severed from its relationship with the parent, the host, it dissolves. It goes back into nothingness, because that's what it is, nothing. It's a creation that we feed or we sever from. The thing that lasts, the thing that is true, the thing that has, power to keep going is the goodness, the generosity, the kindness, the love, because that is of the divine. That is of the absolute truth. That is the eternal life that we live and breathe and extend through our service. So maybe you're, I don't know if you've ever heard of random acts of kindness. Anybody ever hear of random acts of kindness? Senseless acts of beauty? Yeah. So that started with a woman, Ann Herbert, who wrote that sentence on a placemat in a restaurant in Sausalito. Just one day, it was in 1982 specifically, she wrote Random Acts of Kindness and Senseless Acts of Beauty. And she wrote it as an antidote to another phrase, Random Acts of Violence and Senseless Acts of Cruelty. And I love that we all knew the first one, and then everyone just went, oh, to the second one, right? That's because this is really my point. And then another year later, in 11 years later, in 1993, Ann Herbert wrote a book called Random Acts of Kindness and Senseless Acts of Beauty. And Jack Womack wrote Random Acts of Senseless Violence, which was a dystopian novel. So we all have heard of random acts of kindness because her book took off. And it became a foundation, and it was established in 1995 as a foundation, and it's still alive and well, and that foundation creates school curriculum for children. It also just has a bunch of different ideas for random acts of kindness and senseless acts of beauty on its website, and it perpetuates this idea. Their basic motto is make kindness the norm. So when you think of this, these two books that were authored and these two ideas, it's like it really is emblematic of our journey in life, right? The choices that we always have of which path do we take. So what will we author? Will you be the author of Random Acts of Kindness? And what will you put into the world? And also, what will you read? What will you take in? What will you watch? What will you spiritually feed your consciousness with? Because if we feed ourselves with senseless acts of violence and cruelty, then it's going to be really hard for us to show up in the world then in that way where we are in kindness, in generosity, in goodness. It makes it more challenging for us when we have taken in all this negativity to then show up in the ways that we want to show up. And so it's recognizing that giving and receiving is also, what am I consuming? What am I taking in? What uplifts me? What puts me in that vibration of kindness and generosity so that I can be that more easily and effortlessly in the world? So perhaps we could all take on the mission ourselves. What random act of kindness will I do today? What senseless act of beauty? What if we all in this room and online and outdoors, if all of us said, every day this week, I'm going to do one random act of kindness or senseless act of beauty, and all week long. So you multiply that by everybody who's in this room, and by that I also mean watching, and that you multiply that by all of us in, let's say, 7 days, right? And we each do one thing. Look at all that goodness that ripples out into the world. It's pay it forward. Remember that idea? Have you heard that idea before? That came from a novel by Catherine Ryan Hyde, in which this young 7th grader is taught by his social studies teacher to go out and all the kids are supposed to create an action plan to bring good into the world, essentially, to change the world for the better. And Trevor McKinney really takes this young boy, and he decides that he names his movement Pay It Forward. And that the idea is that every time you receive a favor or something good, you don't give it back to that person necessarily, but out to 3 more people. You pay it forward instead of returning it directly. And then he draws a map on the board, those 3, and then those 3, give to 3 more, and on it goes, right? And so it's that idea of the ripple effect. So it doesn't have to be the scientific model that Trevor created of 3 and 3 and 3. It can just be knowing that every time you do something good, it has a ripple effect. And as you give forward, as you are given to, and you think, oh, yeah, somebody did something nice for me, I think I'll do something nice for someone else. It's very natural and organic. and it has that multiplied blessing built into it. So maybe you want to share more of yourself in the world, but you're not sure how. In what ways you really, maybe you're not sure, what are my gifts really, or what is it that I have to give today, or what do I want to give? What would bring me joy? But that really will get you closer to the answer. What does bring you joy? What do you love to do? That will show you what is natural for you to share in the world. We all have a unique soul expression. Each one of us has something to give in a way that only we can give. And so trusting that and asking Spirit and allowing yourself to be given to that right match. And trusting too that then the right match of the need or contribution will meet that. The poet David White says it, of course, poetically. To wake the giant inside of ourselves, we have to be faithful to our own eccentric nature and bring it out into conversation with the world. To awaken that giant inside. To really know what is eccentric, what is unique. And you don't have to search your mind for it. It's natural. It's just like, maybe ask your best friend or ask the people who are closest to you in your life, because sometimes we are not able to see in the same way. So ask them to reflect back to you. What do you see as some of my gifts or some of the things I contribute to the world? What do I contribute to your life? And as you do so, you'll learn more and more. As Simon Sinek, who talks about what is your why, does this. He says, get into conversation with a dear friend and ask them, why are you my friend? And that person might say something general, say, no, but why do you want me as your friend? And they might say something else, and you're going to say, no, but specifically, like what? Please heap it on. What do I provide for you in your life that maybe another friend doesn't show up in quite the same way? And it helps you get clearer and clearer and clearer on, this is my gift. This is what I give to the world. This is naturally who I am. So, we had tending our sacred grounds here not long ago, about a month ago, and it was a day of service here at Unity where people were weeding and cleaning and doing all kinds of things. And one of the things we incorporated purposefully into that day was the ringing of our bell out here. And just randomly, somebody would ring the bell. I think it rang about 3 times during the several hours. And the idea was that when the bell rang, that you paused in whatever you were doing and just took a moment to look around, notice the people that were serving with you. Or look at your hands and notice, what you had been gifting to whatever you were doing. Notice what you were doing. Or look at the earth and give to the earth or this beautiful campus. So it's just a moment to pause and to appreciate. And as you consider for a moment all that happens to make this place run. I mean, even I, who am steeped in this all the time, am surprised when I start to reflect on it and write it down. Like today, I thought, well, what does it take to put on a Sunday service? And I thought about all the people who, all through the week, there are meetings, there's music rehearsals, there's planning, there's sometimes the sound or switch comes in during the week to test equipment, but certainly on Sunday morning, there's, sound checks and all that happen. John is often here very early, making sure all the switch equipment works right, in addition to running it throughout the day. The videographers come at the second service and record the service, live stream the service. And then there are, scripts written and order of service written and all of that stuff that is set up a production schedule. There's slides created and an e-blast goes out and guest packets are created and stuffed and connection cards are stuffed in the seat back pockets around you and those electronic giving cards. Somebody does all this. In the morning, somebody opens the doors and somebody sets out the cushions and the chairs for everyone. And another volunteer comes and makes the coffee and tea, the same person every week, in fact. And then somebody sets up for the children children. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. The greeters greet, the facilitators facilitate, the stage managers manage, the ushers usher. I mean, there is a lot going on here. Then the teachers and the assistants come and they teach the children the lessons and make sure everybody's safe and having a good time. There is a lot that happens. And everything that I named, I would say 90 to 95% of it is done by volunteers. You know, the staff every year on this day for Volunteer Appreciation Day, we talk about how can we put on Volunteer Appreciation Day without involving our volunteers. It's a mind bender, and still we can't do it. You know, every time. So it's just, it's that just deep appreciation for all of you. And even if you aren't volunteering yet, your presence, your engagement here, your participation makes a difference. I do, in the spirit of service today, though, want to honor specifically our volunteers. So if you have volunteered in the last year, will you stand and just remain standing? Look at all these people, 1 year. And then if you've ever volunteered in the history of Unity of Walnut Creek, will you please stand? Look around and appreciate. These are the people that make this community run. They are the heartbeat of our community. And you who are sitting are also part of that heartbeat. Thank you, thank you, thank you for your beloved service. Mother Teresa said, "At the heart of life is service, and your service is sacred." I invite you to speak this affirmation with me. Together, my service is sacred, and so it is.
What can you say? Service is sacred. It's a great feeling for those who do give service wherever. We get, as John Rexford always says, he gets way more out of it than the giving back, and I know that that's true.
If you'd like to explore the concepts from today's message in greater depth and share your own wisdom, please join us for the Spiritual Growth Circle that meets the first 4 Tuesdays of each month at 7 o'clock in the bookstore.
Our prayer chaplains are available after the service to provide personal prayer support. If you're a prayer chaplain serving today, please stand. There they are, our smiling faces. You can see they have their lavender stoles on.
Whether you have a joy or concern in your heart today, praying with our prayer chaplains is a powerful opportunity to have your intentions raised up in consciousness.
And now I'd like to invite Jeff Cushing to the podium to share the joy of service with us. Jeff, come on up.
Thank you. A while back, we were all talking, several of us, and I was being thanked for my service. And in the course of the conversation, it came up, someone years ago, one of the older YOUers asked me, how come I get involved and how come I do so much for everyone? And I thought about it. And then I remembered that if I believed that the spark and the light of God was within each of us, then what better way to serve God and acknowledge His presence than to serve my fellow man? For that reason, I do what I do. And simple as that. That's it.
some of you don't know all that Jeff does, but we have a tradition. We have a tradition at our house where when we're, the way that we say grace together is just to share something we're grateful for or the highlight of our day. And on one particular day, I came home and was sitting with my mom and Brenly, and I said, I think the highlight of my day and the thing I'm most grateful for is Jeff Cushing. The man whistles while he works, continuously. And he fixes everything around here that you could possibly think of that could need repair or maintenance with that kind of joy. He sets up the children's area every Sunday. He makes coffee and tea for us for both services every Sunday. Today, he set up the tables. What's that? And cleans it up. And it goes on and on and on. He's been a longtime supporter of both of our facilities and our youth ministry. So I know he snuck out because he doesn't like all the accolades. But I wanted to make sure you knew so you could thank him personally. Thanks.
I also think Jeff snuck out because he's got things to do. He's on the clock right now. So now let's open our hearts to the practice of giving. Yes. I invite you to prepare your gifts as we align with the universal law of circulation. As we give, we shall receive, because in truth there is no lack or limitation, and abundance is our true nature.
And for your convenience, there are a variety of ways to give financially to this community. In addition to checks and cash, you may download the Give app, GYVE, or scan the QR code on the back of the yellow card that is in the back of each chair, or you can set up bill pay through your bank. And those of you at home, you may click on the Live Watch page. Excuse me, you may click the donate
button
on the Live Watch page.
That's where it is. I invite you to take your tithe or offering in your hand and repeat our affirmation with me. Together, divine love, one with me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am joy-filled and grateful.
Cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that I can do. I cannot do all the good that the world all the good that I can do. Repeat after me. I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that I can do. Do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good I can do. I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good I can do. Take it, Tyler.
Cannot do
No puedo hacer
all the good
todo lo bueno
that the world
que el mundo
needs,
necesito,
but the world
pero el mundo necesito
all the good
todo lo bueno
that I can do.
que puedo hacer.
Okay, let me try this.
I cannot
Je ne
do
peux pas faire
all the good
tout le bien
that the world
dans le monde.
needs,
A besoin,
but the world
a besoin
needs all the good
de tout le bien
that I can
que je
do.
peux plus faire.
cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good I can do. Repeat after me. I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good, yeah, that I can do. Sing it with me. I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that I can do. One more time. I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that I can do. All I can do, all the good that I can do.
In Spanish, even. Impressive. And French. Oh, thank you, Spirit, for this prosperous goodness that is held here in its financial form, that is held here in our hearts in the form of service and giving and sharing and kindness. Thank you, God, for this place, for this community, for the good that seeps through us, that moves through us, that flows through us, that goes as you walk out this door out into the world. We are so blessed by you and your service and by your gifts. Let's bless the gifts together. We give thanks for the ever-increasing, constant flow of absolute good in our lives now. So it is.
All right, we'll bring the children on up. We are a circle of love. We are a circle of light. Come join the circle of love. Come join the circle of light. The light in you and the light in me are one. The light in you. The light in you and the light in me are one.
Good morning, everyone. Great to see you. Happy Sunday from all of our kids. Yeah, we have a great group today. So today we were talking about words that can lift us up and words that can weigh us down. And we have this fun little box here full of words. Who wants to pick a word and we can talk about it? All right, Annie. You can pick the next one. What'd you get, Annie?
Unfair.
Unfair? Oh, so if I say, that's unfair, do you think those words lift you up, or do you think they might weigh you down? Weigh you down. Yeah, and we talked about times that people said things that really lifted us up. Okay, what's yours, Quinn?
I don't know how to.
Oh, she can't read it. Truth. Truth. Do you think the truth lifts you up, or do you think it weighs you down? Here, Harrison, I'll switch you. I'll trade you. It lifts you up. That's right. The truth lifts us up. That's right. And so sometimes the words that we use when we speak to other people are important, but not as important as the words that we say in our own minds, right? That's right. And so we're going to invite you all to think about the words that you use in your mind, your self-talk.
This is unacceptable.
Yes, thanks, Harrison. The words that you use in your mind, if they're positive or negative words, right? And what helps? the positive ones, right? Who wants to do one more? I know. Jimmy. It's okay not to know. What word is that? Hope. Do you think hope is a word that lifts you up or weighs you down?
Lift you up.
Close. Close. It lifts you up. Thank you all for... Thank you, Harrison.
Play and energy. I think that's what we're seeing a lot of up here, right? Well, let's bless our kiddos and our 2 teachers who handled all this energy today. Together, children, youth, and teachers, we love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the divine light within you.
All right, we're going to close with the song Wherever I Am. Please rise in body or spirit and join in singing. If you want to sing this by yourself, hold your hands at your heart. If you want to hold hands with other people, put them out. Not everybody wants to hold hands. Wherever I am, God is. Wherever you are, God is. Wherever we are, God is. And all is well. Wherever I am, God is. Wherever you are, God is. Wherever we are, God is. And all is well. And all is well.
You are the hands and the feet and the heart of God on earth right now. So let your light shine, have fun, and spread joy.